Our club has always been a forum for public figures, thought leaders, and decision makers to share their ideas. Here, we offer access to dynamic political, business, and public personalities.
We are dedicated to encouraging debate on the issues that matter to this city, this province, and this country.
The Canadian Club is one of the most important podiums anywhere in the world that a Canadian can speak to, tell Canadians what it is that they think, develop those thoughts. And so I want to thank you for that very, very much.
Please join me in thanking our esteemed panelists today.
Through our programs and events, including our youth and young leaders programs, our diversity partnerships, our joint events, and our media and social media opportunities, we offer you access to dynamic political, social, and business figures from abroad and right here at home.
The platform from which the eloquence of Canada has flowed all of that time, whether it be business, education, politics, sports, arts, and culture. If someone wants to say something to Canadians about this country and about the future of this country, this is the venue you choose.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. We are now live to our guests online. My name is David Simmons. I'm president of the Canadian Club Toronto and your host for this afternoon. Today, we are thrilled to welcome a physically distanced, fully vaccinated group of Canadians to our first live event in over 18 months. Are you excited to be here? Thank you for joining us. We're also grateful to the hundreds of Canadians that are joining us virtually as well, and we look forward to today's presentation. As you watch today's presentation, please engage with us on social media. Hashtags are on your tables. They're also on your screen if you're watching us online. We're delighted to welcome Air Canada's new president and CEO, Michael Rousseau. Like many Canadians, I cannot wait to travel across the country and to travel across borders again. Michael has a plan to make that happen, and I'm looking forward to hearing his thoughts. For those of you joining us remotely, we invite you to hit submit a question on the right-hand side of your screen. At the appropriate time, for those of you in the room, you'll be able to write questions on the cue cards on your table. Our volunteers will work the room and bring them up for that portion of the discussion. Let me acknowledge today's event sponsor, Amex Bank of Canada, represented by Lisa Calhans, and our Platinum event sponsor, TD Bank, represented by Andy Pilkington. Very good, thank you. We are grateful for your support now and into the future. We're also excited to welcome our students and young leaders table. They are from Ryerson Leadership Lab. Can you please quickly stand and be recognized? Oh, they're over there. Thank you. One day you'll be at the podium or running Air Canada or Amex Bank or TD or the city or the country. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Andy from TD to introduce our speaker.
Thank you very much for that, David, and believe you me, I've been called far worse. It's a real honor to be here today, and I'm really looking forward to what's going to be a compelling and insightful conversation. But Mike, don't take this the wrong way. When I got up this morning, what I was really excited about was not having to make my own lunch. Every day, cheese and crackers, then onto a Zoom or a WebEx. Guys, I'm going to go on video while I just eat my cheese and crackers. What a great meal we've had today. So I really, really value the work that everyone's put in to organize today's event, the Canadian Club of Toronto, all the sponsors, the planners, the organizers, and also the executors, the people who are waiting on us today, the people in the kitchen who prepared it. So let's hear it for everyone who pulled this event together. So running TD Bank's consumer lending businesses, this topic of discussion today is particularly interesting to me. We've got a long-standing relationship with Air Canada and have a superb track record of delivering unmatched value for our cardholders. And I'd be remiss, and this is a small commercial, so bear with me, but if I didn't mention the recent Aeroplan and Uber Canada collaboration, where we're helping our TD Aeroplan cardholders save money on grocery delivery and food delivery, as well as their Uber rides. They get a free Uber Pass membership. So please, if you haven't taken the offer up, it's still available. Please avail yourself. When you think back 18 months ago to the spring of 2020, you know, how different the world looked then and what it does now. You can imagine, as we were talking to our partners in Air Canada about relaunching a revamped and refreshed suite of Aeroplan products, and then the pandemic hit. It wasn't exactly what we had in mind for the launch, but we did move forward and launch in November, in large thanks to sort of the leadership, the adaptability and the vision from Mike and his team, Mark Nasser, the rest of our friends at Air Canada, and also great work by my team as well, Jason Rasmussen, David Riley, Andrea Coletta. They're all here today with us. So I can't think of a better person than Mike to walk us through how this whole thing is going to turn around. And I actually spent the early part of my career as a graduate trainee at British Airways, and you really have to work in the airline industry to truly understand the complexity and sort of challenging environment it can be, even in the good times. So I have to say, applaud everybody at Air Canada for the resilience, the tremendous resilience that they've shown over the last 18 months. And they're clearly going to get Canada up and moving again, which is great. I was lucky to have it. I actually played golf with Mike at the Air Canada annual fundraising charity tournament, the Air Canada Foundation. And I remember Warren Buffett once said that when he invests in companies, he'd never invest in a company where the CEO is a scratch golfer. You know, clearly he believes that they could be creating shareholder value instead of playing brilliant golf. You know, and far be it from me to advise the sage of Omaha on his investment strategies, but Mr. Buffett, having seen Mike play, you are free to go long on Air Canada stock all day long. Okay, on to the serious stuff. Mr. Michael Rousseau was appointed Air Canada's President and Chief Executive Officer in February 2021. He previously was the airline's Deputy CEO and Chief Financial Officer, a role held since January 2019. As Deputy CEO and CFO, Mr. Rousseau had oversight for several significant corporate initiatives and businesses, including Air Canada Rouge, in addition to his responsibilities for the airline's overall financial strategic direction. From 2007 to 2018, Mr. Rousseau was EVP and CFO, and he's played a significant and highly strategic role in Air Canada's successful transformation over the past decade. Prior to his time at Air Canada, Mr. Rousseau held executive positions at Hudson's Bay Company, Moore Corporation, Silcorp Limited, and UCS Group. He was named Canada's CFO of the Year for 2017 by Financial Executives International Canada, and is currently a member of the Board of Directors at Resolute Forest Products. He's also not a bad golfer, I promise you. Without further ado, let's welcome Mike to the stage.
Well, it's great to be here and see over 250 people in the room. Thank you, David, and thank you, Andy, for your kind introduction. And good afternoon to everybody. I appreciate the honor the Canadian Club's providing me to speak at your first luncheon since the lockdown. It's good and refreshing, again, to be together with people after 20 months of Zoom and Teams calls. To recognize this, I decided to reciprocate the honor by changing out of my jeans and sweatshirt and putting on a very classic business suit. Even better, as David said, I'm pleased to report that I still fit into both the jacket and the suit. The COVID lockdown and the emergence from the pandemic have reinforced something enduring: the value of connecting with one another. This simple yet essential aspect of life allows the search of us as individuals to grow on all levels. including emotionally. And that fuels a proper functioning of society and the economy. It is how we recognize humanity. Technologies allowed us to maintain contacts remotely, but genuine, authentic connections need more than that. They need to be nourished. And as public health measures are eased, there's another task that awaits us all, and that is to rebuild the connections that make up our communities and our businesses. This is certainly vital for our company, whose mission, and indeed livelihood, consists of bringing people together. You're all well aware of COVID's impact on business. The global airline industry was particularly hard hit. Demand in 2020 fell 66% from 2019, by far the sharpest traffic decline in aviation's 100-year history. At Air Canada, our traffic decreased more than 90% at the height of the lockdowns and pandemic. In May of 2019, we had 330 daily flights from our Toronto global hub to 130 destinations. By May of 2020, we were down to less than 30 daily flights to 22 destinations. System-wide, we carried 13.7 million people last year. That sounds impressive, but we carried 51.5 million people the year before that. And most painful of all, we had to lay off over 20,000 employees, more than half our workforce. And of course, finally, COVID caused us severe financial hardship. At worst, we were burning $1 million in cash per hour. This led to an operating loss of $3.8 billion in 2020 versus operating income of nearly $1.7 billion in 2019. Contained in our financial reports, however, was one vital number. It ensured Air Canada's survival and is the foundation of our recovery. We entered the pandemic with more than $7 billion of liquidity. That gave our airline one of the strongest balance sheets relative to our size in the global industry. We reinforced this by raising an additional $6.8 billion in 2020. Still, we could not be certain of the length or the depth of the downturn. And this is why our support agreement in April with the federal government was important. It made available up to $4 billion in extra financing through fully repayable loan facilities. To date, we have not drawn on any of this money, and nor do we intend to, except for the smaller facility to help with customer refunds, which have been paid. In fact, what the government really provided us was the level of insurance. This, along with our strong brand, excellent collateral, and may I dare say, an incredible management team and outstanding employees, gave the financial markets confidence. For example, facilitating a $7.1 billion refinancing this past August. Now, with our financial position secure and customers returning, we've embarked on other aspects of our recovery. First, and this pleases me the most, we are recalling furloughed employees. Since the beginning of this year, we've recalled 9,600 of our employees. This will bring our total headcount to 27,000, compared to 37,000 prior to the pandemic. We plan further recalls, and we're also looking to recruit thousands of new employees. The pandemic's been grueling for our employees, for both those who lost their jobs and those who remained. I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly acknowledge all of them for their sacrifices. I thank them for their contributions as we successfully managed through the pandemic. And even as this pandemic lifts, our employees continue to face and overcome major challenges. This mainly arises from the fact that our industry is a complex ecosystem requiring coordination with many different non-airline partners to run properly. After unprecedented 18-month virtual shutdown, some parts of the system are taking longer to restart than others. Our employees are working tirelessly with all these partners to bring back an entire global industry back online, something no one has ever done before. I also thank them for these efforts. Another clear sign of our recovery is the restoration of our network. It has been a slow process. While this summer we flew 85% more capacity than last summer, We are still down about 65% from pre-COVID summer 2019. Our strategy is to first concentrate on visiting friends and relatives, commonly referred to as VFR market. Many of us are eager to see people we have not been with for a long time. Much of the rebuilding is focused right here in Toronto. From a low of 22 destinations last year, we are back up to 86 and are already at 60% of the domestic capacity we had in 2019. We've launched new routes, such as Doha to Toronto in partnership with Qatar Airways, and to Cairo from Montreal. And today, I'm pleased to announce another new route from Toronto. We are launching new service from Billy Bishop Airport at Toronto Island to Ottawa. It will start October 31st with 4 return flights daily, and then grow next summer to eventually up to 8 daily flights. And with respect to Toronto Pearson, we do foresee an accelerating recovery. Our current aim is to reach 75 to 80% of our pre-pandemic schedule next year. Before the pandemic, the growth of Air Canada's international network made Pearson the world's 6th most internationally connected airport, ahead of those at larger cities such as Paris, Los Angeles, and Hong Kong. We will do this, as we've done before, with a special emphasis on connecting Canadian customers, attracting Sixth Freedom traffic, where international travelers connect through Canada, to and from the US, and by adding new flights when demand warrants. We are also ramping up customer service. With the onset of COVID, we suspended many onboard and airport services for the safety of our customers and our crew. That was necessary, but difficult, since we had spent years fine-tuning these amenities and had won many awards for them. We continue to prioritize safety, so our industry-leading Air Canada Clean Care Plus biosafety program remains. But we have been reintroducing onboard services, and our Maple Leaf lounges are finally reopening. We will continue to adapt our approach, but always keeping safety at the core of every decision we make. Our aim, though, is not simply to return to where things stood before the pandemic. Many of our safety innovations have increased convenience and moved us further along the holy grail of the industry, which is a frictionless airport experience. In select airports, we've introduced virtual queuing instead of physical lineups, touchless check-in and bag drop, and electronic bag sizers for carry-on. Our Maple Leaf lounges have touchless access and food ordering. We also have a facial recognition pilot project for boarding in San Francisco. Technology will have a central role going forward, allowing us to provide a satisfying, individualized experience to tens of millions of customers each year. This is why we're devoting considerable resources to such things as AI, machine learning, and analytics, as well as mobile and digital technologies. As exciting as these tools might be, there will always be a need for positive human connection. At the end of the day, airlines are in the customer service business. Nothing can replace the genuine greeting, the friendly smile, or added assurance that comes from direct personal attention. This is something that has remained a priority during COVID. So, I was very pleased when we announced this morning a number of customer service awards from the recent 2021 Skytrax World Airline Awards. Air Canada won for Best Airline Staff in Canada and in North America, Best Business Class Lounge in North America, and Excellence for our COVID-19 response. Our recovery will be further supported by large strategic projects started before the pandemic. Although it was very tempting to delay or scale these back, we kept them because they were excellent investments to position us strongly for the post-pandemic era. One example was the completion of our new reservation system, which is essentially the nervous system of the airline. This was a massive IT undertaking begun years before COVID, which came midway through its implementation. We completed the project in 2020. Now, as we emerge from a post-COVID world, this new system allows us greater ability to serve customers, manage our inventory, and work with partner carriers. The second project, which Andy spoke about, was our Transformed Aeroplan, which also predated COVID. It launched last fall and has been extremely well received. Members are finding improved value and greater certainty on what flight rewards cost and more options, such as family sharing of points. The new Aeroplan has replaced the Altitude program to better reward frequent flyers and is a material improvement over what was already the best travel program on the market. We're also excited to add new partnerships with whom members can earn and redeem points. Notable names include LCBO, Uber, and Starbucks. So you can have a fun night, get a safe ride home, and sharpen up with coffee in the morning. And earn points on top of that, and that's customer service. Additionally, we have very, very strong relationships with our major credit card partners in TD, CIBC, American Express, Visa in Canada, and of course in the US, Chase and MasterCard. Aeroplan will be a key differentiator for Air Canada in a much more crowded Canadian airline industry. This is especially true in the early stages of recovery because the Aeroplan target market has been expanded to leisure travelers, the customers we expect to return first. Another program we actually accelerated on account of COVID was our fleet renewal program. With decreased demand, we were able to remove 79 older, less efficient, and less environmentally friendly aircraft from our fleet earlier. At the same time, we continued on with deliveries of our new narrow-body aircraft, including the Airbus A220, built here in Canada. As a result, we're entering the post-pandemic with a more efficient, right-sized fleet, making us more competitive and advancing our sustainability goals. A fourth program that is proving to be invaluable is our Air Canada cargo expansion. Although historically an ancillary business, we began modernizing and expanding ACC prior to COVID, for example, forming a partnership for drone deliveries. But with a pandemic, even greater needs and opportunities arose. Typically, most air cargo travels in the bellies of passenger aircraft. But with so many commercial flights grounded, capacity soon became scarce. The situation persists to this day, made more difficult by congestion and other cargo modes, such as the ocean container shipping, and by the explosion in e-commerce deliveries. We were one of the first airlines to remove seats from passenger cabins to accommodate cargo, and we have operated over 11,000 all-cargo flights since mid-2020, where none were before. This has led us to convert 8 Boeing 767s into dedicated freighters, with the first 2 arriving this year. Further, we're also expanding and modernizing our Toronto Pearson cargo facility. Its improved cold chain capability will enable us to better handle shipments such as pharmaceuticals and perishables. The Toronto facility will be the only one of its kind in Canada and one of the most modern in North America. All of this investment will support a very exciting initiative called Revo, our e-commerce company. Partnering with our first mile and last mile partners, as well as a leading e-commerce software company, we fully intend and expect to take at least our fair share of this growing market, both internationally and domestically, leveraging our brand, our network, and logistic capabilities. Another deeply important initiative that's taken on greater urgency is Air Canada's environmental program. The pandemic has not only reinforced our need for personal connection, it has also laid bare our connection with the environment and amplified our awareness that climate change is humanity's greatest challenge. We have no choice but to accept our responsibilities in addressing this and to do our part. Fighting climate change is a personal priority of mine, and I'm very proud that Air Canada has been a leader. Since 1990, our fuel efficiencies have improved by 43%. In the last 5 years, we undertook more than 115 projects to eliminate 145,000 tons of GHG from our air operations. Our commitment to sustainability continued through the pandemic. In fact, we made a major new announcement in March that we have set a goal of net zero emissions by 2050. We are also active in the area of alternative fuel, which would be an environmental game changer for the industry. We've been involved in supporting such fuels since our first demonstration biofuel flight in 2012. As part of our net zero emissions announcement, we also committed to invest at least $50 million in sustainable aviation fuel research, as well as in carbon reduction and removal. We look forward to continuing our part in this important initiative alongside governments and other partners. I cannot speak about sustainability and our commitment to a better world without saying how proud I am that despite the severe disruption of COVID-19 pandemic, we have been worked on new initiatives regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion, as described in our Citizens of the World CSR report. A collaborative, diverse, and inclusive culture is not only right, it is essential to our recovery and to our success. Another area of social responsibility where we are active is in promoting the health and well-being of children and youth through the Air Canada Foundation. It offers both financial and in-kind support to Canadian registered charities. In Toronto, the Air Canada Foundation is a groundbreaking partner for the construction of the new Toronto Sick Kids Hospital. I now turn to the role of governments, who I've got to know much better in the last little while. Rebuilding a society and an economy requires not more than lifting health measures. It requires concrete, constructive action. For our industry, this means setting policies for our competitive and efficient airline industry, which benefits all Canadians. Indeed, governments must be prepared to change policies in what has become a changed world. Apart from making travel fun, convenient, and affordable, a healthy air transport sector is a major economic contributor. In Toronto alone, we have more than 11,000 employees, making Air Canada one of the largest non-financial private sector employers in the Greater Toronto Area. We also spend significant sums operating our business. I already mentioned our investment in the new state-of-the-art cargo facility at Pearson, and in our day-to-day operations, we inject billions each year into the economy. In 2019, our last normal year, we spent nearly $3.4 billion on goods and services from suppliers in Ontario, and $7.7 billion in Canada as a whole. In fact, we estimate that prior to COVID, our economic contribution was $21 billion to Canada's GDP, and we supported the employment of almost 190,000 people. In order for us to operate at our potential and keep making this contribution, there are several things governments can do. The most immediate of which is, of course, to take a science-based approach to further relaxing travel restrictions. The federal government need no look further than its own expert panel report on how this can be done. Related to this, governments at all levels must better coordinate to develop a common approach to travel, both in domestic and international markets. By this, I'm referring to such things as vaccine certification and testing requirements. Greater standardization is required, particularly for sharing testing and vaccination documents with foreign governments for international travel. We will continue to work with all levels of government to ensure these initiatives are executed. Governments can also learn from the experience of COVID to fix the flawed funding model for this country's air transport infrastructure. Canada is an outlier among developed countries in terms of the extent in which it relies upon users to pay the cost of the air transport system. COVID exposed the shortcomings of this model. Once a user disappears, the infrastructure came under immediate pressure. This led to airport debt payment deferrals, higher fees for things like navigation and airport improvements, and even a requirement for direct government financial support. To cite one example, airport improvement fees increased at most airports in Canada. They can now exceed $40, compared to being capped at $4.50 in the US. These and other costs, such as airport rents and city taxes, loaded onto our system, reduce the competitiveness and could hinder our recovery. No country charges these fees in the same extent as Canada. Governments must realize that the air transport infrastructure supports the entire economy and benefits everybody, not just people flying. The 2016 Emerson report on Canadian transport concluded this, but governments at various levels have yet to act on it. Now, as we rebuild from COVID, it is time to do so. And finally, and this is less specific to airlines, it applies to all businesses, governments and corporate Canada need to encourage Canadians to get back to the office and work together. Our social and economic fabric needs the same attention that we put in towards fighting the pandemic. This can be achieved by establishing effective safety guidelines for people to return to the office, to start meeting again, just as we are doing today, and to venture out, whether to the office, across Canada, or around the world, to conduct and generate new business, or frankly, go out and have a coffee with a colleague and a client. Everywhere, the world is adapting to this new normal, which is taking shape. Our governments and our business leaders, working together and independently, should now be encouraging Canadians to do so safely, so that we do not fall behind. There is every reason for Canada to be a leader in this regard, as increasingly high levels of vaccinations in Canada suggest that we can be. Finally, and most importantly, I am convinced that the worst of the pandemic is behind us. At Air Canada, our entire focus is now on safely restarting and rebuilding our business. Our vision for recovery rests on leveraging our strengths to reestablish ourselves as a Canadian global champion. This will involve restoring our global network, providing seamless connectivity with Air Canada partners, delivering consistent and superior customer service with innovative technology, and diversifying our revenue base, such as through Aeroplan and Air Canada Cargo. These are all means to an end, which is to continue to serve our customers and connecting them to the world and to the people and places they care about most. Many of you who are here today are part of our broad customer base, and I want to thank you for your loyalty and for choosing to fly Air Canada. I do hope that you share our optimism, and we look very much forward to welcoming you back on board. Thank you very much for the time. Good.
I'm gonna sit down now.
Okay.
All right.
Now the tough part.
Now it's the tough part. Look out, Amanda Lang. Coming for you. Just kidding. That was a joke. You're all meant to laugh. Ha ha ha. Jokes. I loved your presentation. I appreciate you joining us. We broke news today. You can use hashtag breaking. There were 2 big announcements from Air Canada. Yeah, that's right. There you go. So we got questions. We've audience submitted questions. We have online questions. Some of these are tough. Some of these are easy. Which one do you want me to start with? Tough one. There's a good CEO. Do you see a threat from new and emerging discount airlines that are looking at Canada as an attractive market?
We've always competed against the best airlines in the world, whether they're discount airlines or mainline airlines. And Air Canada's always done very well in that regard. We have incredible attributes, which I just took the audience through, and so we're comfortable, but wary of the new competition. We encourage, frankly, new competition. It makes us better at the end of the day. And it will, given the strength of our brand and strength of our people, we will find ways to compete effectively against low-cost carriers or any airline that enters Canada.
You talked a lot about rebuilding the economy and sort of the task ahead of us. What particularly do you see Air Canada's role being in building the Canadian economy? What can you contribute?
Well, we contribute connections. We contribute, before COVID hit, we flew to over 200 destinations around the world, bringing both business and leisure into Canada and Canadians to explore the world, both from a business and leisure perspective. As we put together that network again, that's our biggest contribution to Canadians is obviously the GDP impact, which I spoke about, but it's also the social impact of allowing everyone to go visit and relax or go visit a friend. And that's almost equally as important as the raw GDP impact as well.
There's a question here about ESG, corporate sustainability, the environment, governance. You talked a lot about that in your presentation. Is there anything that you didn't get to say in your presentation around Air Canada's purpose or vision under your leadership that you want to say now?
Again, a lot of people, when they speak about ESG, they speak more about the E than the S and G. All 3 are very important to us, and we have realigned our board and our senior management group from a governance perspective to make sure that we can move faster on many, many different aspects. And it's not because we know investors are asking more questions or customers are asking more questions or frankly employees are asking a lot of questions right now, because it's the right thing to do. We've always been a leader in this area, and we challenge ourselves internally, how do we move faster with the corporate goal we put out there in March. And so we've done a number of things internally and dedicated many of our strongest people to this initiative.
That's great, and I appreciate a leading CEO reinforcing that it's the smart and the right thing to do for us to take action in those spaces. If there are any other questions from the floor, I think Colleen's floating around or online, we can pick those up. The audience is really interested in knowing, based on the cards in my hand, you spent a lot of time in Toronto, you now spend a lot of time in Montreal, Leafs or the Habs?
So we have a split family. My wife is all about Canadians, and I'm all about Leafs.
This is honest, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. A two-team household. There you go. Audience questions, online questions. I know who won the Air Canada tickets. I'm not going to tell you yet. No other questions for Michael? Oh, we have a question. Yell it out. Yeah. It's our first time in 575 days.
VVC to the rescue. I'm anticipating that socially we're going to snap right back to normal. We'll be going to Leafs games and cruises and traveling all over the place. But business-wise, I guess is Air Canada anticipating that business travel will forever be changed? Simply because it's a dollars and cents issue, and if so, what effect will that have on the airline and private travel?
Great question. So there's no doubt leisure travel is coming back much faster than business travel. We think business travel, once we get back to whatever the new normal is, a hybrid office, but certainly some activity at head offices will start coming back, but right now it's well behind leisure travel. What do we do about that? I mean, there's a lot of studies out there as to what may happen. Certainly, I think inter-company meetings are probably more at risk than client-facing meetings. And you know, we're well positioned, frankly, from a business perspective, to deal and adapt if there is a permanent reduction of some level in business travel. I'm not ready to say that right now. It's going to be a very fluid situation as time goes on over the next couple of years. But I can tell you that Air Canada will adapt. If the new normal is slightly lower than where it was in 2019, then we'll adapt to that situation.
I can tell you that I really enjoy Zoom and Teams. I don't. And I really can't wait to get back in person. So I hope your thoughts are the right ones. If there are no final questions for Michael, I will announce, is that right, Colleen? I will announce the winner of 2 tickets to anywhere Air Canada flies. I'm happy to let you know that you can be nice to me on the way out because I won the tickets. I'm just kidding. Okay, can I get a drum roll or something? Ladies and gentlemen, Adita Julia from PricewaterhouseCoopers won the tickets. Are you here? Adita. Wave so everyone can see you. Thank you for taking me with you. I'm just kidding. All right, well, thank you very much, Michael, for your presentation. Let's give Michael a round of applause. Thank him for being here.
Really nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. All right. Oh, these are Michael's notes. Breaking news. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Michael, on behalf of the Canadian Club Toronto, thank you for sharing your ambitious plans for recovery with us today. The air transportation industry has been particularly hard hit by the global pandemic. Human connections matter, relationships matter, and the success of Air Canada matters to all of us. 18 months of unprecedented instability reminds us that we need to come back together. I'm encouraged by your plans for investment and your vision for the future of Canada's global airline. It's also the Canadian Club's airline, so thank you for your support. Our very best wishes to you, to your management team, to the team at Air Canada, and to your supporters around the country. Before we close, I'd like to extend another round of thanks to our Platinum sponsor, TD Bank, and our event sponsor, Amex Bank of Canada. Let me also take this opportunity to invite you as our guests to join us at our next virtual event, Wednesday, October 13th. We'll discuss the changing supply chain landscape with a panel of CEOs led by Linda Seymour, President and CEO of HSBC Bank Canada. And on October 20th, we'll be in person again for our second in-person event of the season with the Honourable Rod Phillips, Minister of Long-Term Care. He will address Ontario's plan for the long-term care sector. Let me conclude our time together by thanking MediaEvents.ca, Canada's online event space, and VVC for live streaming today's events. Thank you for being with us. It felt good to be together. Now it's time to rush back to my Zoom. Take care, everyone.